Well, then maybe that'll do.
All right.
Jesus, I'm so mad. I tested this like the other day and it worked
Oh, yep, I
perfectly.
can see it on stream. Hello.
Okay, I
Hey,
think this is working. Okay, sorry everyone for the technical difficulties. We found a crazy
for
workaround, and
real.
here we are.
Would it be a stream if we didn't have some kind of absolute technological breakdown happen, on something that we had already tested and planned?
Yes, I'm back.
All right,
So hopefully with this workaround, the delay isn't too bad. But anyways, Kat has the Pyrenees file, and I'm sorry.
I do. Right over here, and we're just gonna turn this little guy into a PNG just so he's a little easier to get into my program.
So I saw somebody ask the question before all this craziness went down. They were wondering if you had any beginner animation tips.
That's a real good question. I mean, that is a good question. I mean, the simplest, it's not the most helpful answer, but the simplest answer is to just sort of like, give it a try, jump in and do it. But okay. More helpful than that, though, I would say one of the main things is just looking at stuff, watching both like animated things that you like, seeing how those things move, and studying that, and also studying like real life and what they like, just sort of what things do, because honestly knowing what you're trying to create is sort of half the game. So like when you watch how things in real life move, then you get a feel for like what you're sort of trying to replicate. And watching animators that you enjoy, animated movies or cartoons, it'll give you sort of ideas for how to stylize those things, and how some people might like break down that information, and what you can give you ideas of stuff to take away for your own work.
Yeah, I mean that's really good advice. I think a lot of people don't realize is that we do, as artists, we do look at real life inspiration for a lot of our
Absolutely.
stuff, and if you're not going out and like looking at stuff, you really don't know what it is you're drawing. I hope that makes sense. Like,
Absolutely. I know when I was testing and just sort of getting started here, I had this one video just like breaking down like a four-legged walk cycle and how that works, just to like sort of study that. And ooh, we are lagging. That's okay. Like I just sort of looked at that video religiously and tabbed through like frame by frame, like, okay, so this paw moves now, and this paw moves now, and then these paws are over here.
right? Like I actually sometimes would use my own dogs as reference to see how all right, in this view, this is what the dog looks like, and this is how they sleep and look when they're eating and all that stuff. Um, just to make sure I get all the angles right and all that goodness.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, that snout looking real good. Whoop,
Too kind. Yeah, no, like uh I again, just for like the like sort of short time frame we're working with here, and also the slight lag that Discord is now inflicting on me. I'm gonna try and just like sort of get something rough out, but I figured I would try and sort of block out a play position, like how dogs will like jump down and do the little like paws splayed out, like that kind of pose.
Actually, I have a question for you.
Oh, please.
So what kind of tool are you using to draw? Like, is it like a tablet or?
Yes, I've got a Wacom Intros Pro, I believe. It's a little bit of an older model.
Oh, so you're not using like a screen tablet or anything?
Nah.
That's hardcore. I actually used to have Intuos and switched over to a Cintiq, and
Oh,
it
that's so cool.
helped me so much. I'm actually looking into upgrading, getting one of the newer models. And suit.
That's so neat.
Um,
I used a Cintiq every now and again when I was in school because they had some available for us to use. But beyond that, this guy has been my tried and true, except for when I'm drawing for fun, in which case there is a 99.9% chance that I'm probably on my iPad.
right? Lil Toasty 2142 is asking if we also study anatomy, like bones and joints, or that would be overkill.
Absolutely. No, that stuff helps majorly. Like, especially in character-based animation like this, and I'm counting dogs as characters. Like, it's really helpful to know the like individual pieces and like how they work because it gives you a better idea of how they would move in space.
Especially, like, I can also attest that taking figure drawing helped me
Yes.
considerably. If not only how to draw the human or any figures really, but to learn fundamentals like blocking and just learning how to see the world through a certain lens where you can accurately draw it to how you want. But
Truly.
but blocking definitely is a big thing. Like Cat's pretty much blocking right now, just doing loose lines and getting the general shape and angles of the figure.
And then once this is the first stage where I'm just sort of trying to get a feel for like where we're going with this, what's gonna be, and then once I get the general sort of motion set up, that's when I usually end up going back into get like get the details in, make it actually start to resemble our beautiful fluffy boy here.
So, what program are you using? It looks like on top TV Paint animation.
That is the one. It's a really nice program. It's a little pricey, but I would say it's absolutely worth it. I think it's funny because I don't think it's very it's used super frequently over here in the States, but it's really popular in Europe, and
Really?
it's super cool. I actually got my start learning it as I was helping out. Oh my gosh, I don't remember what your chat handle is right now, but Crispy Honey Stars, my girlfriend, she, she was the one who sort of taught me how to use this program and introduced me to the whole scene.
Oh, nice. I actually just saw Josephine's question about program suggestions, so I guess that kind of tied into that. But do you have any other programs, maybe for anybody that wanting to learn how to animate?
Um, See, this is the moment where I get really sad that Flipnote is not a thing because that is fully where I started to learn. But beyond that, I know Photoshop has a like animation feature that is really good for like if you have it and you just want to sort of get started learning about it. It's where I started out before I got this guy. I think Clip Studio Paint has one too that I haven't tried out, but I've heard a lot of good things about it. And uh, again, any other iPad folks, I highly recommend Procreate. They've got a little, I think it's sort of newer, but a little animation uh, feature as well that it's really fun to play around with, especially if you're just sort of trying to get a feel for it. And Rough Animator on mobile as well. Super awesome program just to sort of like play around in and get a feel for things.
So Hamuel SD is asking if you ever use After Effects.
Yes, I do. I don't do a lot of the like sort of first stage making in it. Like I don't do a lot of drawing in it generally. I've used it a lot for like motion graphic stuff, and recently now that I've freed enough space on my laptop for it to coexist peacefully with the rest of my files, I've been using it more for like touch ups and compositing and like final effects and all that.
Have you used it at all for To the Rescue?
Um, I've not actually, especially because with To the Rescue, everything that I'm making, instead of exporting it out like, as a video, as a sprite, I am generally, or instead of making it a video or a GIF, I am exporting a sprite sheet, which, I don't think I have any of them on my computer presently because they are absolutely ginormous.
Yes. I
But
saw like you showing Tanner because you guys were trying to do some cleanup for the golden retriever, and I saw how massive that thing was, and I was just like, I'm glad I'm not there. I'm not doing that.
oh yeah, they aren't bad to work with, but yeah, basically, I wonder if it'll give me a preview if I try to like pretend export. Give me a background, please. Boo. Okay, no, it won't. But basically, exporting a sprite sheet, I would have a sheet where each of these frames would be sort of lined up next to each other, and when you're working in high def, that ends up with a ginormous sheet of dogs. But to loop back around to the original question, since I'm not working with like a video export, I have not messed with After Effects for To the Rescue specifically.
Yeah. I mean, it's not out of the question, but
it's not. But it doesn't factor into my my personal workflow with To the Rescue.
Yeah,
I did use it for another thing up the other day, but
yeah, especially since the game's giving off a lot of it is like hand drawn. All like the background tiles and stuff, I did all that in Illustrator to make sure everything is scalable. The UI is done in Illustrator. I think the only thing I've like drawn in Photoshop would be like the items and the furniture.
oh yeah,
I was hoping to show you guys kind of like the behind the scenes look of how those sheets look, but another time.
Could pull one up and maybe toss it on the Twitter or something. Bring it to the Discord, maybe.
Yeah, I'm sure Bill and Lily and Tanner will be delighted to show that in the dev diary.
True.
I think you and I don't really post quite or show quite as much. I don't know why. I think we just never think about it.
Yeah, I never like when I'm working on stuff for the game, my thought like I forget to document the in between. I'm just sort of sitting here like, all right, make a dog, dog's made.
Yeah.
Give me another one.
Right? I'm just like, I can't wait to see how Cat animates this dog or this visitor. I actually can't wait to see how you animate the little emo guy.
I'm excited about him. He's gonna be fun.
Right? I want to see like the hair like swoosh and all of that.
Yes. Oh, it's gonna be so fun.
I'm actually doing a secret rework of the shop UI. I mean, it's not going to be major, but I'm going to add some little things to give it more personality. And I'm hoping with Olivia and Tanner's blessing that there's a part in there I kind of want you to animate.
I'm so excited.
It's gonna be another layer of cuteness for the game, but
yes.
But we'll see.
Y'all heard it here.
Yeah.
Secrets.
Exclusive. This is the first Tanner and Olivia has heard this too. Yeah, they're on stream. So.
I mean, you didn't hear anything. There's nothing happening here.
Yeah, the more like I hear feedback from the players for the demo, the more like ideas I have to really spice it up. All the UI stuff.
Yeah, me too. Like, I know not even related, obviously not related to the art because that's not my wheelhouse, but I'm always excited to read any feedback we get, even if it's like an off the wall idea or like stuff we already know. Like, it's really cool to see sort of the things that people, that people find notable or interesting or difficult. Like it's just always like every time I'm like, what if we redid this and this and
Right?
fix that? And then yeah, it's always like really just energizing, I guess.
So
One thing I want to ask, Kat, the little pink line on the bottom, is that to make sure that the dogs are all on the same plane?
yes, that is just a little reminder for me that the ground exists and that I have to keep that in mind. So it can every now and again, like you can see there are spots where the rough kind of goes over it, but the idea is to make sure that as once I'm cleaning it up, that they all sort of stand on the ground properly, and we don't have any hover dogs or subterranean dogs.
We did have issues at first.
We did. Oh, it tried. It.
But it wasn't like anything big. It was just all like
Mhm.
minute details, but they were like noticeable once you blow the game to the full
Yeah.
screen.
Yeah. And the thing about that is we can fix those issues on our end, but it is super tedious. So if they're all super consistent from the get-go, it makes it so much easier to implement them. Because in the game, the sort of the way the animations work is they're all put together based on like a universal pivot point. And that's also used to like anchor them to like the ground and things like that. So when there's even like 1 pixel difference from like the different frames of the animation, it could just make them look like they're just totally spazzing out.
Yeah.
And us not knowing anything about animation, and Byron not being sort of inexperienced with it, when we did our first pass on the animations and stuff, it was a nightmare to try and sort it all out the first time.
Yeah.
Not that you did a bad job. I think they were actually like they were pretty good, but just the technical implementation of them was a pain.
You gave me too much credit for those animations.
I thought
They were cute.
at the time I was like, yes, they're moving. They're not just flat sprites anymore. Like that was a
Right.
big deal for the first yeah.
I liked them.
You got like, oh man, you guys should see the very first iteration of the game before I was brought on board. They are.
No, they should not.
It was
I don't know. I think
wild.
that sounds like a fun screenshot Saturday.
Well, we
little
were
throwback.
actually so in the Q&A that we're going to be having on Sunday. So we already did one dev stream of the game, and we were trying to think of like what we'd be doing in between questions. And we were just thinking about playing the current demo, but if you guys want, viewers, we might pull out one of our old prototypes and just show, because they're playable still. Like we still have them. So yeah, that might be fun.
That'd be really cool.
I'm always interested in seeing the progression of how this game.
The programmer art,
Right.
as they say.
The programming side is so like incomprehensible to me that it's cool just to see like how it's done.
Honestly, when you guys were doing the dev stream yesterday and showing the social media stuff, I was like blown away like how intricate it was, because I did not know some of those systems, like the social media being able to follow the dogs. I didn't know you guys were even implemented the photos of the dogs adopted yet. Like I saw them like in our little chat.
Yeah, it was sort of a last minute thing. We weren't planning on like I actually thought it was going to be a lot harder to implement than it was. So, and we're wanting to refine it a little bit more. This was sort of just like a 1.0, like trying to sort of see what it might be like. And I think it actually works out pretty well, honestly.
I didn't see any problems with it. It was actually accurate right now. And I was blown away. I was like, oh my gosh, I got this done. And it was like, I don't know. I think the social media part is like my favorite thing. I always open it up every time I boot up a demo.
Yeah, me too. And maybe it's just because I spent so much time working on like the username generator.
I love the username so much.
And I still like it's sort of my like baby part of the game right now is the sort of social media, because that was my job the last like month.
Yeah, let's give Olivia a round of applause for that work, because even
For real,
it is just like amazing, really, really ambitious undertaking. but I'm excited. It looks really
Y'all killed it.
for real. Um, let's see here. So, how many frames do you say each dog do you give for each little animation thing?
It depends. I actually, if I can open recent here, I can show y'all. I keep the retriever sort of on hand since he was the first one that I did a like sort of full run for. But as you can sort of see here, each sort of action gets its own sort of amount of frames that I kind of try to keep to, and it'll vary a little bit from dog to dog, and like specifically like there's more variance between the big dogs and the small dogs, but like the basic like idle animations have they're 4 frames that are just a little stretched out, but you get into more when you get to oh, he's only lines, that's okay. Like the running or the walking, and I think the yawn is the longest with like I think 20.
Oh my gosh. I would not have guessed yawn would have so much.
I wouldn't either. It caught me off guard, but it's since it's a more sustained motion, there's a little bit more going on.
Right.
So it varies from dog to dog, but each action generally takes around 6 to 8 frames ish.
And yet you're packing so much personality in each frame. Is that I would not have guessed Candy was 4 frames. I mean,
Cute.
I don't know. I feel like everything just looked like 20 frames to me, and I'm just like, man, how's she getting this all done? It's the magic of animation.
Dude, I swear, half of animation is just making every frame count. That's animation. That's advice there. Right? Like, do not be afraid of taking shortcuts. Do not be afraid of copying and pasting. I know usually when I'm starting on a first clean pass of a dog, I'll trace Byron's design, and then I will take the thing that I've traced and just sort of copy and paste it over all of my like super roughs just to make sure that they stay consistent. Don't like animating takes, oh my god, so much time. You are going to be drawing the same things over and over and over again. If there is a point where you can like make things a little easier for yourself and give yourself a shortcut that still like gives you the sort of results you're looking for, like you're not cheating, you're not you're not breaking the rules, the secret society of animators ain't gonna come after you. It's an excellent idea. Take any shortcut you can find.
For real, I feel like a lot of beginner artists even like they don't really think about it that way. They think like, oh, references is cheating and all that stuff. I'm like, no, they're just means to an end. Like as long as your final product is how it should be, or what you want, or what your client wants, or whatever. Like it doesn't really matter what process, unless you're like directly tracing, like
Yeah, that's the problem.
That's the problem. Like blatantly like copying 1-to-1 somebody else's work. Now that's kind of iffy. That's a little gray.
I'm allowed to copy Byron's work because we're working together. Don't do that regularly.
But yeah, even when I'm doing like the concept sheet, I'm like copy pasting like the body and just changing the head a bit, because there's like no reason for me to redraw the same standing body,
Exactly. Let's see. Boop, boop, boop. I also, y'all might have noticed, I switched the frame rate here because I forgot. 24 frames is sort of the standard frame rate, which means basically every second 1 frame is passing, but the dogs run on 12 frames. So it's half the number of original drawings taking place, as opposed to like, what you'd see in like cartoons and so on.
That's really interesting. like I'm learning alongside everybody. Never taken any animation classes or stuff. I like a bunch of my friends are animators, and yet I never like got into it.
Thank goodness you both can somehow interpret what we are trying to communicate we need from this sort of stuff. Because I remember when we were first, sort of setting up, sort of the scope and like what, sort of art requirements were. And you were like, how many frames per second? And I was just like, enough of them?
I mean, you never know if somebody's going to have like a specific, like something that they're going to want for that, or if it's just sort of like up to you to sort of gauge it, but I figure it never hurts to check in.
Right. We definitely found that